let me ask you something, and this does require a level of honesty, not not the answer you would give if someone was listening in on our conversation, but like the real one if no one was watching you. When was the last time you did the thing you said you were going to do, not when you felt like it, not when the conditions were right, not when the motivation showed up, but that you did it just because it was the day you said you would do it, and then you do it anyway? Because there are, what I know to be true, there are two kinds of people in this world, and the difference between them is not talent, it is not intelligence, it is not who has the better idea, or it's not who has the bigger following or the cleaner backstory or the more favorable circumstances. The difference is deceptively simple and profoundly consequential. One group shows up, the other group plans to. And I want to be clear about what I mean by showing up, because the phrase has been watered down by the personal development space, the toxic positivity bullshit. It's been watered down into something that sounds like a little gentle suggestion. And I do not mean showing up when you feel inspired. I do not mean showing up when the energy is good and the stars are aligned and your coffee was exactly right and the kids were cooperative and the internet was working and you happen to be in the mood for the work. That is not showing up. That is waiting for a good day and then you call it a habit. Showing up means you do it on the bad day, on the day when you are tired and the motivation is nowhere and the inner critic you have is super loud and the results from the last time you showed up are still not visible and you have 17 completely legitimate reasons to take off today. Showing up means you sit the fuck down at the microphone anyway. You open the document anyway. You make the call anyway. You take the step anyway. Not because you feel like it. Fuck your feelings. You show up because you said you would. Because the version of you that you're trying to build requires the input, whether or not the input feels good today. And I'll tell you something that no one in the bullshit highlight reel economy, the curated fake Instagram influencer bullshit, they're not going to tell you. Most of the work of building something real feels like nothing while you're doing it. You know how I know I'm on the right track? Because every fucking day it feels like nothing. It feels like nothing. You know, I'm talking about, listen, bitch, I'm talking about the episode that nobody watches for 3 months that then suddenly reaches the right person at the right moment and changes everything in your life. That episode that felt like shouting into the void the day it was recorded, which that's how most of my shows feel. The email list that goes from 12 people to 1,200, those early emails went out to 12 people, and most of them are probably related to you. Maybe it's the business that becomes the thing. It looked like a hobby with delusions of grandeur for longer than the founder is comfortable admitting. Honestly, I didn't know podcasting was beyond a hobby. I knew it was my thing. I just didn't know I could get paid for it. So imagine my mind when this year, after 3 years, after 700 episodes, that your girl finds out she can make money on this. What? I've been doing this for free? But it's because I showed up. And this is the thing, I never knew which day would be the day it clicks. You know, I still journal in the mornings. And on the days where I just get to say, Dear God, and not, Dear God, I fucked up, when I'm like, Dear God, I pray this is the day it all breaks open. I ask that. And every day something new happens. I learn something new. I meet someone new. I get a new opportunity. It's incredible. The thing is, you guys will not see the day coming. You do not know which day is the day everything falls into place. You only know you have to be in it for the click to be possible. And you can only be in it by showing up every single day, even when no one else does, even when you're not getting the pat on the back, even when you're not getting the accolades. 3 days of going live on TikTok for me. I'm the only one showing up, and I'm still showing up. It's okay to be the only one in the room for a while. It's okay to go first. Welcome to the Listen Bitch podcast. If you're new here, I am Brandon Lynette. I am the authority, the voice authority, the authority, the podcast authority. Y'all, I did the math yesterday. I've got 700 episodes under my belt. My own shows. That's not even talking about the times I'm a guest on other people's shit. I'm saying my own data, my own algorithm, everything I posted myself. 700 shows. You know what I've learned? Your mess is your message. And today I want to talk about the thing that separates the people whose callings actually get built from the people who carry their callings to their grave, never fully deployed. I even put up a post today, and I guess that's probably why I planted the seed for this episode in my brain. I said it's going to be unfortunate that you die with your voice inside of you and your body just full of regret, dead, dead, because you're worried about what your high school peers are going to say or think, or that they're going to laugh at you. Interesting. Your mess is your message. I don't want you guys to have regrets. I'm going to help you get there. And I'm going to say it's not the strategy. It's not the niche. It's not the platform choice or the content format or the production quality or any of the other variables the industry wants you to obsess over. It is whether you showed up today, whether you showed up yesterday, whether you're going to show up tomorrow, regardless of how today goes. That is it. That's the whole thing. I could end the show there and you have the greatest takeaway. That's the whole thing. You show up. And before you roll your eyes because it sounds too fucking simple, it is simple. Listen, bitch, it's just not easy. That's the difference. And the space between simple and easy is where most people's potential lives permanently unexpressed. You're choking on that shit. And I'm fucking pissed. I'm pissed about it. I'm pissed about the potential that is not being expressed. I'm pissed about the stories that are not being told and the voices that are not being heard and the people who are out there right now looking for the thing that only you can give them and not finding it because you did not show up today. Bitch, you didn't show up yesterday. And where the fuck were you the day before? Let's just call it. That ends today. That ends today. Before I get too deep into this, you guys know that today's episode is brought to you by my Super Patch. I'm talking about victory because showing up is not about showing up at your best. It's not depleted, not running on empty, not compensating for a body that is not getting what it needs. Victory is the performance patch. And I don't want to name drop, so I won't. But I'm going to tell you that NFL teams use this. Several NFL teams use this. 0 ingredients. This is where you're going to get your strength, your stamina, your agility, enhanced neurofunction. And I imagine this is what I thought about today when I think about the person who shows up every day at their full capacity. This is drug-free, 0 ingredients, vibrotactile technology that tells your body it is ready for what you're asking of it. That's part of showing up. Taking care of your body, stewarding the mission, giving it the best chance. Safe for everybody. Again, that's another one I keep in the vault. Okay. Now, link is in the show notes for that patch. I do recommend Liberty going with it because it gets your body into homeostasis. But let's get back showing up. The difference between the people who build the shit and the people who plan to build the shit. Like, have you had a conversation with someone? And I know I do have a lot of builders that listen. So when I say I'm pissed, I'm not at you. Like, I know you guys are here just for the level up, and I love you for that, okay? I do have a lot of badass entrepreneurs fucking doing things. Sometimes we just need that umph in our ear, and I get to be the umph today. I love you guys for that. But also, you guys have this conversation with people because I've talked about it with some of you guys where people are always telling us what they want to do. It's the same thing like when I go to a store and people see my tattoos, which isn't very often because I live in Michigan, so I wear a hoodie 24/7, 365 days. Um, It's like that the tattoos people plan to get, right? I have to hear that list. I want to get this, I want to get that. Cool. To be honest, I don't give a fuck. I just want to pay for my groceries. Show me what you're doing. Show me the design you're drawing, right? It's the same thing with business. Oh, I want to do this, this, and this, and this. That's kind of what my limit was for helping people with their podcast. That was my limit because I got really tired of people asking me how to start a podcast, and the same person would wait a year and ask me again. I remember you told me once, could you remind me? No, bitch, I told you a year ago. You use it then or you pay me for the information now. That's it. That was like a big catalyst in what I did. And this is the thing. We've had this conversation with people. There's a lot of them just talking about it. And I'll be fair because there is something actually happening in the brain when you show up consistently versus when you do not. So we're both training our brain. The person who's not showing up trains their brain. Me, who shows the fuck up, I didn't want to do this today. I was late showing up, late putting on makeup. I'm having a terrible hair day. It's bothering me. I almost didn't even want to hit record. I thought, I'm telling myself literally, like, maybe I should just do this tomorrow. I'll have a better hair day tomorrow. I'll wash my hair tomorrow. I wouldn't fucking wash my hair tomorrow. I wouldn't. Mornings are for Bible and workout and homeschool. Like, I'm not doing that shit tomorrow. We both know that, right? So let's talk about what's happening in the brain. Because it's not just motivational. Motivational shit is bullshit. Motivation isn't fucking real. This is mechanical. And the mechanics are the thing that make the difference permanent instead of just like a temporary fix. Your brain has a system for building automatic behaviors. It is centered in a structure called the basal ganglia. Okay. It is deep in the brain, below the level of conscious decision making. So it's just below when you consciously know you're making a decision. And the basal ganglia does something remarkable. It takes behaviors that are repeated often enough and then it converts them from conscious, effortful choices into an automatic sequence. This process is called chunking. I know you guys have heard that before. The brain watches the behavior happen repeatedly and then eventually packages the whole sequence, the trigger, the routine, the reward, into a single automatic program. It's a nice little system that fires with every little conscious input. This is why, like, brushing your teeth does not require you to motivate yourself every morning. It's chunked, it's automatic. There are things you just automatically do when you don't think about it. The behavior's chunked. The trigger fires. You wake up, you go to the bathroom, and the sequence runs automatically. You don't have a conversation with yourself about whether today is a good brushing day. You just do it. And this is the thing about showing up for your work. Okay, especially like when you are in the early stages of building a habit of showing up. The first 30, 60, the first 90 days of doing the thing consistently, the basal ganglia, the basal ganglia, it's watching. And what is it doing? I feel like class, what is it doing? It's collecting data. It's running the sequence through the evaluation. Every time you show up, you're giving it evidence that this behavior is worth chunking, that this sequence is a pattern worth automating, that this thing you're doing is a permanent feature of your life and not a temporary experiment. That is why they say if you're going to change a habit, give it 90 days because it becomes chunked. My mornings are very automatic. I wake up in the bathroom, I stretch downstairs, put my shoes on, step on the vibration plate, lift my weights, get on the treadmill, and read the Bible. Wake up, kids. That's the chunking. It's not something I have to think about anymore. I'll tell you what fucks me up. If I come downstairs and my shoes are not where I put them, it will derail. It's so ridiculous. Then my brain is like, oh my God, we have to think about this. Where's our shoes? We have to go all the way in the other room. We have to get the shoes. We have to put the shoes on. It's a whole thing. Very dumb, but our brains are trained. And every time you do not show up, every time you skip the day because the conditions weren't right or the motivation wasn't there or The reason to take the day off was just too good to pass up. You are giving the basal ganglia different data. You're telling it that this behavior is conditional, that it only runs when certain conditions are met. And conditional behaviors do not get chunked. Those conditional behaviors stay in the effortful, decision required, motivation dependent zone forever, which means every time you sit down to do the work, you are starting from scratch neurologically every single time because the automation was never built in your brain. And when I talk to people that have built the real things, the podcasters with 200 episodes, the writers with bodies of work, coaches with a track record that speaks for itself, they're not more motivated than you on any given day. Their motivation fluctuates just like yours does. What is different is that the behavior has been chunked, that showing up is automatic. It runs regardless of the motivational weather, regardless of your feelings. And because it runs regardless, it runs for more often. And more often compounded over time is the entire difference between a dream and something that's built. What's the truth? You know this. You know you're not behind because you're less talented. You're behind because you're still relying on motivation to produce the showing up. And motivation is a terrible fuel source. It is irregular, very unpredictable, and specifically designed to not be available on the days you need it. Discipline, the automatic basal ganglia chunked, I don't even have to decide to do this, I just do it. Discipline, that is a different engine. We're using different parts of our brain. That's built through one mechanism and one mechanism only. And I feel like I know you guys can say the word. It starts with the R. Repetition. It's the reps. It's the reps. I feel like I need to make some fucking merchandise that says it's the reps because everybody will know what the fuck I'm talking about. Everything's a rep. The showing up that happens even when the showing up feels impossible. That's the rep. And the neuroscience does not give a fuck about how you feel about the work at any given day. The neuroscience just counts the reps. If you give it enough reps, the automation builds, and then the work becomes what you do instead of what you are trying to make yourself do. That distinction is everything. And planning to show up. Okay, this is a little uncomfortable, but it's a very important section, I feel like, in this conversation. Planning to show up is not showing up. I know that sounds obvious, but the people who are not showing up almost never describe themselves as people who are not showing up. There's a little denial there. Are you describing yourself as someone who is getting ready to show up? I spoke to someone when I was bartending. I bartended for about a year last year. The last year I bartended. Um, and I talked to someone that whole year planning to start a podcast. Planning. Dude has a complete studio. I'm like, there's no way you have that equipment and you haven't launched your show. Has the merch. Has fucking merch and he's never recorded an episode. Every conversation is I'm getting ready. I'm closer. This happened. This happened. And he would talk about these life circumstances that are happening. And I think, whoa, dude, you know, life's not going to pause for you to get your shit together. He's almost ready. He's almost ready. The people who are in the process of building toward the point where they can show up. The people who have a plan to show up that they are in the middle of executing. Who are going to show up as soon as the thing that is currently in the way moves. It never moves. Planning to show up is its own full-time job. It is exhausting because it has all the activity of showing up, but none of the output. Because what does it take to have a whole fucking studio? What does it take to create the merch? What does it take to have all of these things? I mean, he has soundboards, microphones, a padded room. Bitch, this is a curtain. This is another curtain. This is an old bookshelf. I think we got at a yard sale that we just painted black. Right? Like, he has a whole fucking studio. I'm 700 episodes in. He has 0 recorded. So yeah, you're doing the work. He had to research, you know, the research and development and system building and framework refining and audience understanding and, technology mastering. He's doing that. Brand developing. Check, check, check. Bitch, I don't even have merch. All of the legitimate, genuinely useful work that can be done infinitely, he's using it as a substitute for the one thing that actually produces the result, which is the episode. And I know John listens to the show. So I guess, John, he works for USPS. What the fuck, bro? Did you launch? You need to message me. Message me and let me know. It's crazy because he even gave me advice on a platform to use to boost my show. So he even knows where to go to boost the show. I used it for a while, but my Wi-Fi never let me stay on it. It was wild too. What the fuck? Helping me launch my show and you haven't even recorded a podcast. Do the thing. The result is the episode. The result is the post you make when you stop being afraid. It's the offer you put out or the launch of your business. You love the product you're using. I'm obsessed with these products. I'm obsessed with Super Patch. I launched a business. I did it. And it's even one of those little MLM network marketing things. Yeah, cuz he owns his own business. So yes. Oh, sign me up. Let's launch it. I'm not afraid people are going to be like another MLM. Yeah, I left my business. I burned it down and this is the only thing that speaks to me. Launch it. Maybe it's the call you have to make. The thing you need to do that goes out into the world where it could do something. That's the product. Imagine a chef. She has studied cooking for 3 years, right? She knows everything about technique. She's read every cookbook. She's taken the courses. She's watched the videos. She bought the equipment. She understands the theory of flavor deeply. She can explain the reaction and why it matters for a perfect sear. She knows the difference between a julienne and dice. I don't know. I'm not a chef. She can describe what a perfect dish tastes like with precision and authority. She could describe that. But like, she's never cooked a meal for anyone. At some point, the cooking has to happen. At some point, the preparation has to stop being the thing and become the foundation for the thing. At some point, you have to put the food in front of a human being and find out what they think. And the only way that happens is if you stop preparing and you start doing. The podcast you have been planning, that's the meal. The strategy and the framework and the niche and the tech setup and the content calendar, that's the stuff. And the stuff doesn't feed people. The food feeds people. The show feeds people. And you cannot make the food while you're still organizing your fucking kitchen. And I see it constantly. I want to shake the shit out of you guys. I see it constantly. People who are 3 years into preparing to launch. 3 years ago, I was like, I'm going to start a podcast. Everybody's like, I want to start a podcast. I've always thought about starting a podcast. Guess how many people I know out of that group that started a fucking podcast? Me. And I now, since in the past 3 months, have 5 other people that have started a podcast because I'm not fucking around anymore. They're preparing to launch. They've been preparing to launch since I posted my first episode. People who have built the most comprehensive pre-launch infrastructure in the history of podcasting, like my friend John, has 0 episodes. And I will make a formal apology if he reaches out to me and says, bitch, I recorded. But I bet he didn't. In fact, I'm going to reach out to him myself and find out today. People who know more about podcast SEO than most of the podcasters currently being found through it. You know that? The people who are ready in every possible way except the one that matters, they've not actually done the thing. You guys, that's the difference between me and you is I've done the thing, and you don't have to buy into the bullshit of getting ready. Stop buying into the bullshit that you need $30,000 to start a show, or that you need a producer, or that you need to. I've done this solo, baby. Solo. And look how far we've gotten. 700 episodes in. The thing, the episode, the meal that feeds the people, your story that feeds the people, the message that feeds the people. That is the only part of all of this fuckery that counts. The thing is the only part that reaches people. The thing is the only part that gets better through doing it. The preparation has a ceiling. The thing, the doing, the feeding does not. It does not. This is the rebellion. This is a rebellion season, so you know I'm not going to go without talking about my favorite systems, because this is what happens. These bullshit systems that have used us as useful idiots for a very long time, who want us sick and dumb and stupid and dependent. They don't want free thinkers. They don't want doers. They reward the planning and they punish the doing. And this is what they don't tell you. And I'm talking the entire industry. The courses, the programs, the communities, the ecosystems built around helping you build your thing, they are often accidentally incentivized against you actually doing the fucking thing. Because here's the business model. You feel the call to build something. You fill the gap between where you are and where you want to be. And the industry says, great, here's the bridge. And the bridge is the course, the program, the community, the framework, the mentorship. Buy the bridge and the gap closes. You buy the bridge. Bitch, I've wasted so much money on bridges. It's fucked. And it's genuinely good. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes it's good. Like, what's the truth? I've learned things. You're going to learn things. You're going to develop things. And at the end of it, you're better prepared, but you're also now aware of all the things you did not know before the bridge, which means you are aware of new gaps, which means the industry has a new bridge to sell you, and buying the bridges becomes contagious, and like that feels like the work. And the bridge economy runs on your perpetual sense that you are not quite ready yet, because ready is the thing that would stop the purchasing, and purchasing is what keeps the system running. And I'm not saying there's a conspiracy, but I am saying the incentive structure does not reward you for just doing the thing. It rewards you for feeling like you need more before you can do the thing. And there's a toxic culture out there with coaches too that do the same thing, that try to tell you you need this. That's why I tell you guys, I will not bullshit what it is to have a podcast. I will not bullshit you on that. I will not steer you wrong. I will share my secrets. We'll go through the process together. But that feeling is where everybody's making money, and that feeling is also the thing standing between you and what you could actually build, that built thing. What is the truth? Do you need to learn? Absolutely. I learn something new every single day. Do you need to develop? Yes, I develop every fucking day. Do you need some preparation before you launch? Um yeah, sure. I'll teach you how to do the Zoom. And what I tell my clients, your free version of how to start a podcast, the best piece of advice I'll give you is have 10 episodes before you post live. 10 episodes. That's some preparation. But you do not need the amount of preparation you've been telling yourself you need. And the gap between the preparation you actually need and the preparation you've been pursuing is made of fear. And you're being sold the lie that it's responsibility. Start. Start right now with what you have. From where you are, the preparation that actually matters happens on the other side of starting. You do not learn to swim by reading about swimming. You learn to swim by getting in the water, and the water is waiting for you, and it's been waiting for a while. One of the most humbling things that has happened to me in this work, because humbling is a word that I need to sit in before it's become a lesson. When I started the interview show, it's 2 months ago, over 100 conversations in. I was prepared. I had thought about it. I thought about it for a long time. I had a format. I obviously had the equipment. I had an idea of how I wanted to steer the show with my questions. I was a person who did interviews. I was the guest. I studied other hosts when I was a guest. So I was by any reasonable measure ready long before 2 months ago. And I sat on this show for a very long time. I sat on it cuz I was afraid. And I had my first month in the first month of interviews, I had an interview that was a mess. Um one out of the whole show, one episode that I recorded, I had an interview that never went public. Never went public. I wouldn't say it was exactly a disaster, right? Nothing caught fire. Um the recording worked, but as soon as we were done recording, he said, "I'm not comfortable with this going public because I steered the show in a direction with my ego." And wow, I was very uncomfortable. Everything was off. Our energy was off. I felt it. The pacing was off. I knew in my gut, this is terrible. This is going terrible. This is going so wrong. And I thought I needed to stay in my authority and stay in my power instead of just backing off and trying to understand. I was drawing a line in the sand, drawing a line in the sand. And I felt terrible because I made him feel terrible about his experience and about his story. This happened one time. We talked for 30 to 40 minutes. I apologize profusely. I took responsibility, right? I fucked this up. I brought my shit into the show. I was triggered. I made it about me. I wrapped it up, thought I could package it really pretty and just sell it because he still had an incredible story. And absolutely not. And the crazy thing is I genuinely asked for another chance. I apologized. I was like, "Can I get another chance?" His agent reached out and he was like, "He wants another chance." We scheduled it. He stood me up and I haven't heard from him since. So I guess that was his uh chance to waste my time like I wasted his, which really sucked. But it was a huge lesson for me. It was a huge lesson for me. Talking when I should have listened, asking questions before I judged. Um wow. I don't know if I've told you guys about that, but it was tough for me. I cried and I felt like shit for a solid week. And every conversation I was coming into, I was terrified. I was terrified. There was this level of like, "God, please get me through this conversation because I don't know what to say anymore. I don't know who you want me to be on the show because when I showed up to what I thought was myself, I hurt someone and it was not intentional." Um and that's it. It's happened one time. It was an incredible lesson. And what I learned is that even if I sat and prepared for another 6 months and I hadn't done the show, that interview still would have blown up because that problem, that experience was what I needed to grow and expand in who God is calling me to be as the host of the show. It needed to happen. And this is called the doing it for the first time problem. Okay. And the only solution for the doing it the first time problem is doing it for the first time so you can do it for the second time with what you've learned. I've since had conversations with the same topic, the same trigger for me, and it's been fabulous because I learned my lesson, because I found a place where I could hold the space for someone else's beliefs and still stay firm in what I know to be true. I don't have to be right. People just need to be heard and they need an understanding. And maybe at the end, our solutions don't look the same, our agreements don't exist, and that's okay. We're not meant to be the same exact people. But now, what? By the 20th interview after his show, which only took about 4 days because I do like six a day, something shifted, right? Then what happens by interview 50? Something else shifts. And by the time I'm recording this episode, over 100 conversations in, the version of me who sits across from a guest is not recognizable as the person in that recording, in that interview. And it's not because I've studied harder. I didn't open a book. It's because I showed up more, because I learned the lesson and then I did the fucking reps. Because every single interview, including the ones that were awkward, the ones that were where the chemistry is not there. The ones where I ask the wrong question and I have to recover, or someone doesn't understand my question and I think it's simple. And I'm like, how do I explain this any simpler without insulting people? Like being able to hold that authority. It's a rep. Everything's a rep. And the reps built the skill that preparation could only approximate. I could have never prepared for that. I had to experience it. You will never do the first things perfectly. And I'm telling you that right now so you can stop using the fear of that, of the imperfect first one, as the reason that you haven't done it yet. The imperfect first one is the price of the excellent 10th. Pay the fucking price. It's worth it. And the only way to pay is just to do it. It's just to do it. Um, on the same show, I spoke to a woman who had an idea for her podcast 3 years before she launched it too. 3 years. She had the concept fully formed in year one, like my friend John. She knew exactly who she wanted to reach, what she wanted to say, and why it mattered. She had the perfect name for it. She had the format figured out. She had, in her words, planned every detail except the recording. Year two, she said she bought the equipment, good equipment, like my friend John, set up the space, did the test recording, sound quality check, everything sounds great. She didn't publish it. She wasn't ready yet. Bought a new course about podcasting, refined the concept, decided the original name wasn't quite right, developed a new one, redesigned the cover art several times. She's like so close to ready, like my friend John. She launched in month 3 of year 4. Her first episode, the one that she had been preparing to make for 3 years, told me within 48 hours that first episode going live, someone sent her a message, just someone who found the show by searching for something specific, who said, this is exactly what I've been looking for. 3 years, 48 hours to reach the person who needed it. How many people did my friend miss in that space? I have another friend that's actually done that, that waited forever, waited to have equipment, waited to have the producer, waited to have the editor, like waited for everything, and kind of got the same message. People can't find what they need because it doesn't exist yet. The people who need these things during the years you're waiting don't have access because you're still planning. Nobody gets the time back. My friend, my guest can't get back the 3 years, but she has every year moving forward. And she told me that that first episode was not as polished as the one she'd imagined making after 3 years of preparation, but you better be perfect. But it also connected with a real person in the real world within 48 hours, which the imagined polished version never could have done that. I'm going to say done is always going to be better than perfect. Not because quality doesn't matter, but because done is the only one that can actually do anything. And I'm telling you, there are days, and those of you that have been with me since day one, my day ones, there are episodes that I put up just to be fucking done. Because I said I would do the show. I said I would do the episode. The world's falling apart. I'm crumbling inside. My life is over. Whatever. My world is literally on fire. Bitch, I got it done. I got it done. The best I could do is throw up a show right now. I'm going to throw up a show for you. And you could tell the difference of my episodes that are thrown up just done. Just done. And I think those are some of the ones that have touched people the most, because there is raw humanity in there. There is emotion, like you could tell, like, holy shit, I'm surprised she's recording this. And that's the proof and the truth that your brain needs to say what's possible for you. Right now, if this episode is speaking to you, if you are the person who has been preparing to show up while the thing sits unbuilt, share this with another person who's in the same place. Someone you could think of that's been talking to you about what they want to do, what their plans are, the business they want to launch. Send it to the people that are done and ready in all the ways that matter, except one. They need this today. Make sure you guys subscribe, leave a written review. It moves the needle for the show, babe. And I need your help, right? I wouldn't be here without you, and I won't grow without you. So there's the truth in that. Um, but I want to talk about what showing up has meant for me from the faith angle, because I think that is what has connected me to my voice the most. Because a lot of people, my day ones, you guys, I know I talk to you a lot in every show. Um, my voice has changed in the last year, very different, and what I know to be true, it's because of my new grounding source, because I am building a relationship with Christ and I'm putting my feet there. But listen, I believe God gave you a specific calling. And this is why I get so passionate with you guys, cuz I know what he did for us and I know what he's given you. And my mission, the voice he gave me, is to make sure you're not wasting yours. And this is not just a general calling. It's very specific. It's a message that he gave you that is shaped by your very particular story, your particular wounds, your particular wisdom, your specific voice. And I believe that the people who are supposed to receive that message, the ones who are always supposed to be on the other end of your obedience, they are real people living real lives right now. This isn't hypothetical future fucking people that you're going to come into contact with. These are real people that have been waiting as long as you've been talking about doing the thing. And I believe every day that you do not show up is a day that they go out without the thing they're supposed to receive from you. And not forever, because I know God is not limited to your timeline and his purpose will not ultimately be thwarted. But in a very specific, real today shaped sense, the message that was supposed to go out today did not go out today. And the person who was ready to receive it today had to keep looking. I'm not trying to guilt you. I'm just showing you the urgency of our mission here. There's a very big difference. Guilt says you're bad for not showing up. Urgency says someone needs you to show up and you have the power to make that happen right now. I'm a Christian. Jesus did some serious heavy shit for me. He did it for you too. And I believe that the showing up, that the daily unglamorous, unsexy, nobody is watching, nobody gives a fuck, the metrics are not confirming anything, kind of showing up is an act of faithfulness. Not just to the work, but to God for putting the work in us, to the people he put the work in you for. And I believe that faithfulness in the small thing is the qualification for the big shit. That the person who shows up on Tuesday when nobody is watching is the person God trusts with the Tuesday when everybody is watching. And I think about what happens, right? Because when you build a relationship with Jesus, you build a relationship with him, you're playing the long game. You're playing the save my soul game. I don't want to burn in hell game. You're playing the long game. And so every day I wake up and I may not feel like doing the things. I think there's one person. And what if today I don't show up and I have to face Jesus about that? What if I'm standing in front of him one day waiting to see if he has my name in his book, if he knows me? Does he know me? Because that's a thing. Maybe you've never read the Bible. That's literally a thing where he has this book. And a lot of people are going to say that they know him. And he's going to say, I know you not. I want him to know me. And that means that these people he expected me to talk to need to be able to name drop, right? He needs to know, like, man, Brandon really showed up for this person. I don't want him to drop a list of everybody I missed because I was scared, of everybody I missed because I wanted to be safe, of everybody I missed because I didn't think I was qualified, of everybody I missed because I just didn't feel like it. Imagine that's the thing that keeps me out of the kingdom. Bitch, you're crazy. Be the person who shows up. Show up on the Tuesday when nobody is watching. Because that Tuesday that everybody tunes in is coming, but only if you're already in the habit of doing. And if you do not know, if you do not know Jesus, if the conversation about faith is one that you've been having quietly with yourself and you're not sure where to land with it, I will say this. I will say this very directly. The showing up I'm talking about, the daily faithfulness, the doing the thing even when it costs you, that orientation does not come from willpower. Willpower is much like motivation, okay? Very limited resource and it runs out all the time. This really comes from being rooted in something that does not move when the circumstances move. And that is what gives me the groundedness. That's what gives me the power of my voice. That's what gives me the authority to be the authority over your voice. That rootedness, the very unshakable, I know who I am and whose I am rootedness, that is available in Christ. Not in a big religious performance sense, you guys. We are not at church. Okay, I am not the cookie cutter Christian. I will disappoint you. I am a human. I am a sinner, but I do know the truth of Christ. This is in a relationship sense, in the daily, real, talk to him in the car kind of sense that does not require a building or a denomination. You don't even need a theology degree. He is worth finding. And the showing up gets easier when you know who you're showing up for. And the action step, you guys, there is only one. There is only one action step today, not 100, not 5, not 2. There's one action step. Show up today. Not next week, not on Monday, not after you finish the course or finalize the framework or feel more ready today. Do the one thing that counts as showing up for the thing you're supposed to be building. Record the episode. Write the paragraph, send the email, post the thing, make the call, have the conversation, take the step. We're not doing the whole thing. We're not going for a perfect version. We're taking one action that counts as moving today. The smallest possible version of showing up that is still real showing up. Because the basal ganglia doesn't give a fuck about the size of the rep. It just counts the rep. And a small rep is infinitely more valuable than a large rep you plan to take and did not. Tomorrow, do it again. And then the day after that, and the day after that, and the day after that. Not because every day will feel productive. Not because every day will produce visible results. Because the compound interest of consistent showing up is the only mechanism that builds the thing. And the only way to access that compound interest is to make the deposit today. Be better today than yesterday. Better tomorrow than today. That's the whole strategy. That's the entire plan. Show up today, show up better tomorrow, repeat until the thing is built. You know what I think about when I think about the people who plan to show up and never did? I think about the specific person, the real, actual, living human being who was searching for the thing that only you could give them, who typed the words into the search bar, who scrolled through for the results, who's doom scrolling just hoping something speaks to them, clicked on a few things that were close but not quite it. That person's still looking because the thing they were actually looking for doesn't exist yet. It is still in the planning phase. It is still in the notes app. It is still in the thing you're almost ready to build. And I want you to hold that image. Not to feel guilty, but let's go back to feeling that urgency of it. To understand that your showing up is not a personal development project. It is a service to a real person who needs the real thing that only the real version of you, the one who actually shows up, can ever provide. The planned version of you cannot help anyone. The prepared version of you cannot help anyone. The almost ready version of you cannot help anyone. The showed up version, imperfect, in progress, doing the shit anyway, no matter how they feel, that version helps people. That version changes things. That version is the only one that actually matters. I help people stop planning and start building, specifically the podcast that's been in the notes app, the episodes that's been outlined and not recorded, the message that has been developed but not delivered, the voice that has been warming up in private for long enough. I take all of that, everything you have built in the planning phase, and I'm going to help you turn it into the thing that actually exists in the real world. And the world doesn't need your plan. It doesn't. It needs your podcast. It needs the people who are looking for you. They need you to show up, and they need it today, not when you feel ready, not when the conditions are right, not when the perfect version of the thing is finally done. Today, now, whatever you have, however ready you feel, show up. The rest follows. Check the show notes. Come work with me. Tell me what you've been planning. Let's talk about that. Tell me who has been waiting for it. And then I double dog dare you to come on my show and tell me why you're special. All right? Either way, one way or another, show up today. And then be better today than yesterday and be better tomorrow than today.